Can you hear me now? Do 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 do. And the sound of silence. I don't understand that because it shows that the entire time I have a graph that's on the side here that shows a mixer of the volume going up and down. I don't know. Bye, guys. I got to get ready for work. Catch you on the rebound, Little Gang. You have a great one, Rykart. You can hear me now. That's good. I'm just baffled on why it was showing on my end it's working, but it's not broadcasting the sound. That is just weird as hell. We can live, can hear. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Let's start this all over. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, you drive safe, right, Cart? People lose their effing minds in the summertime, especially when they're driving. They don't think ahead. There's such a rush. Good morning, Bonnie. Welcome to this morning's live stream. I hope you had a great week. I'm sorry, I'm going back through the comments here. Make sure I say hello to everyone. Kitiku, great reminder. Thank you. Check. Making sure I didn't miss anyone. If I did, I'm truly sorry. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this morning's Blunders Balderdash and questions. This is the mean comment edition. Mean comments. All of these comments are left by real people on my videos, live streams here on YouTube and on Facebook. These are the only two places that these have actually been left, not in anything else. Most, but not all, of these comments you may have never seen because they were held in review. Blunders, Balderdash, and questions. Welcome to a show where I boldly tackle my past blunders, bizarre questions, and internet chaos. Because why keep my dignity when I can turn it into content? I'll be diving into the wildest stuff I've been asked. Some serious, some strange, some that made me wonder if the internet's okay. These gems come from YouTube comments, live streams, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, currently known as Confusing. And even a few brave souls who have emailed me like it's 2007. Again, all of these comments come from YouTube and Facebook only. With that said, first one. Everyone knows you stole the shadow idea from AD. Just admit it. Be over with it already. Stop lying to save face. Yeah. Well, we know armchair detective stole the shadow idea from the driveway from someone else. I, on the other hand, helped him. Offered to help him. I should say. Where I had the video analyzed by two separate companies, and he didn't want it. because he had already at that point suckered all of his viewers, subscribers, and constant, supporters who gave him money. He suckered them into believing it was real. I didn't steal it from anybody. It was him. He took it and took it as his own, all the way around. But thank you for the comment. Next one. Why are you defending a rapist and murderer? That is disgusting. And you're wrong about the facts. My best friend's sister knew him. That is about an individual in regards to the video that was left on, who was at one time a pro skateboarder, and he killed his girlfriend. I don't know of any part in there of the entire investigation and case file where it says that he was ever a rapist. Yes, he beat her to death. He did kill her. But again, just like so many times every single month, I get these comments where people say that they know or they're connected to the story. Maybe some of them are real, in the total scope of everything in life. But a vast majority of the people who comment that they know or they're connected to these stories or these events or these murders or these victims, they're not. They just want to be connected to it because they want people to pay attention to them. But again, yeah, I wasn't defending him. I was just laying out the facts that he was up for parole and he was denied parole. But anyways, that was his first parole hearing. I wasn't defending him. Next one. Read any of those books behind you? Maybe take an adult literacy class, you F-face. Yeah. A vast majority of the books that you see behind me are psychology textbooks and supplemental guides for those who are studying psychology. My wife is working on her master's degree in psychology. Have I read any of these books? I would say I've read a great portion of them, not 100% of every textbook, but I have, whenever I need a reference or I want to look something up, that's what they are. They're reference guides to me on the psychopathy of an individual or something that may come out and like I have a question about. When it comes to why someone did something, I look it up. It's a reference guide. Not everything that you want to learn is on the internet. Even Amazon themselves, who has spent a vast amount of money and resources on digitizing and bringing everything to a digital format, they themselves know that only about 40% of the world's knowledge that is in books can be found on their website, or it has been digitized on someone else's website. Only 40%. So again, not everything you need to know in this world is on the internet. Have I read them all? No. I've read a lot of them. A lot of them, though. Next one. Why should anyone trust an ex-felon such as yourself? You all lie and rape society for everything. Well, I hate to break the bad news to you. I've never been convicted of a felon. I'm not an ex-felon. I'm not I've never been through a court case that has anything to do where I was sentenced to jail time. In the last 25 years, I've had 2 moving violations. I had one when I was in college before that. Felon? No. I don't know why people believe that I'm a former felon. Maybe my research and how I explain things about how the prison system, jail, and courts work. Maybe I'm just really good at explaining it, so people believe that I have some kind of inside knowledge to it. But I'm not a felon. And as for other people out there who are felons, you're wrong about people who have made a mistake in their lives and they're just here to rape and pillage society for whatever they can get. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that believe that is the fact that once someone has done something wrong, they're always going to do something wrong. It's not true. But thank you anyways for believing that I was. Next one. 3 things factually wrong in this. 1, you said he was alive. 2, you said law enforcement was closing in. And 3, you said the wrong days. Idiot. Well, this is about Travis Decker. And they believed that I was wrong when I said I believe that he is alive and that he is hunkering down in the forest somewhere. Well, according to the FBI, who just took over the manhunt for Travis Decker, and currently, right now, as I read this comment, they are currently, in the area of where he was last known to be, have been seen. And there are over 100 officers who are combing, and doing a grid pattern of the area. 100 officers. And they have found some things they believe may have been a cache or items that he discarded as he went into the forest. Yeah, that's not breaking news, but I guess it is if you don't have the internet, and you obviously do if you're leaving a comment like that. But I had the right dates. I don't know where you thought I was wrong. In that video, I said the last date he was known to be alive and where he went into the there. They haven't found his deceased body. They haven't found him alive. And even the sheriff of Chelan County, Mike Morrison, said they have no evidence to believe that he is dead, and they have no evidence to believe that that he is still in the area. They're hoping that now that the FBI has taken over and they can use more of their resources and their money and everything else, that they can definitely put forth and connect up with other federal agencies to expand the search. But I truly believe that he is hunkering down somewhere in the national forest, just waiting for the heat to come down so he can slide out when they're not looking. Because right now, like I said, there's over 100 officers who have flooded the area, with the FBI, and along with border security, U.S. Marshals, looking for him. But I'm definitely not an idiot. But hey, that's your opinion. Next one. You're a moron. See a comment thread here. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I'm stupid. I'm always something, of lesser intelligence to a lot of people. You have never done anything right in your life. Oh, that's wrong. Just end it. End the suffering now and save your children. At least 2, maybe 3 times a month, I get a message that is comment like that or comment like that about, why don't you just take yourself out? End yourself now. Hey, you're nothing. You're worthless. Go ahead, put the 45 in your mouth. Just pull the damn trigger. Get it over with. I get these comments at least, again, 2 to 3 times a month. I don't know why people say these things, but they do. I'm not going to do it. I mean, I hate to break the bad news to you, but hey, thank you for allowing me to take room up in your mind, and for you to have to think about I'm still here, or that you hate me so much you're hoping that something bad like that would happen to me. It's kind of weird, isn't it? When you think about it, you don't know me, you think I'm a moron, or you think I'm an idiot, but you don't know anything about me. You don't know who I am. But hey, that's the way people are. All right, next one. You made fun of Katie Joy on your trivia night. Terrible. I reported you to her mods. I hope you get kicked off this site. What did I say that was so horrible about Katie Joy? Here's a screenshot where I actually mentioned Katie Joy. It was a trivia night last week. Question number 11 of 20. Who were the 2 teens initially arrested in the yogurt shop murders? And letter D down there, I said Katie Joy or Maya Rudolph, the actress. How is that making fun of her? And as far as you having to report me to her mods and hoping that I get kicked offline for that, shouldn't Katie Joy already know that? I mean, she does have a crystal ball, so she can see into the future and know things that don't exist. I mean, besides her stealing content from people and calling it her own, she has that crystal ball. She can see into the future, the past, and she can see things you would believe that are not real, that haven't happened yet. So I appreciate you reporting me to her moderators, but I don't see how that question could ever be me making fun of her. I mean, in that context, I guess I'm making fun of Pauly Shore, Barry Morphy, Bruce Springsteen, the singer, and Forrest Wellborn. Well, Forrest Wellborn is one of the people who was arrested, but yeah. The next one. You're ugly, you're fat, and you most likely smell like my trash can. That's really nice. It's nice of you to say that. That I'm ugly and fat. I do need to lose some weight. You're right about that part. Do I smell like your trash can? I don't know. Does your trash can smell like Old Spice? Because that's probably, the number one thing that I smell like, Old Spice, Swagger, because that's the body wash I use. Yeah. I don't know about ugly, though. Some people would probably disagree with that part, though. Next one. Serial killers are like hot dogs. They are all the same, and you're full of S like you. Full of shit like you is what it was supposed to be, but I'll probably get in trouble with YouTube for actually saying these dirty words. That's an interesting, connection there. Serial killers are like hot dogs. I like hot dogs. I like Nathan's hot dogs with the natural casing. They get that crispy snap in them. I don't know if serial killers or me are full of shit, but again, it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. You're entitled to it. Next one. You didn't make a correction. You made fun of me. Unsubscribing in all caps. So I checked the actual screen name of the individual, and they've never been a subscriber. But I always appreciate people who tell me that they're unsubscribing to my content. I never asked you to subscribe in the first place. You did that on your own accord, but you don't have to say goodbye on the way out the door. I mean, I appreciate each and every person, who subscribes to my content so they can be notified of, the next upload, next content that I do put out. But as far as I didn't make a correction and I made fun of you, well, I guess I did kind of poke fun at the fact that you demanded that I make a correction because you thought that I was factually wrong. When I double checked the actual content in that video, I was not only right, I actually had information in that video about, this was in regards to Mr. I Like Children, Josh Duggar. I had information in that video that hadn't yet been released yet because I had a source that told me that this was in regard to him getting caught smuggling a cell phone back to the housing unit. I had a source that told me how he did it and how he got caught and what the circumstances were behind that before it came out in the media. So was I wrong? No. Do I need to make a correction? No. Did I poke fun at you? Yes. And you still weren't a subscriber. And I'm truly sorry that either way you feel you need to say that you are unsubscribing. See, people do this because they're hoping that other people in the comment section of the video or stream will see that they're unsubscribing and without any context to it, or the little context, that they put into it. And they're hoping that you will see that and go, I've been on the fence about should I be a subscriber or stay, being a subscriber. This person's unsubscribing. I think I'll join them. They think that's how the world works. Well, you subscribed. I should subscribe too. I'm never going to watch his content again, but maybe I should unsubscribe as well, or maybe never subscribe. Next one. Why are you covering crime? Stick to man stuff. Man stuff. What is man stuff? I'm not kidding. I actually printed this out and took this into my house, and I asked not only my daughter, I asked my wife, I asked my mother-in-law, what is man stuff? What is it? Is that things that are believed to be dominantly only for men or that men do? Would that be construction or automotive? What is man stuff? Is man stuff talking about guns? Is it man stuff to be talking about hunting? What is it? I don't know what man stuff is, because I hate to break the bad news to you, but one of the most intelligent and highly sought after individuals in my entire state, not just in my area, is a woman who is an auto mechanic. She knows how to troubleshoot things and fix things that you would never know how to do. She knows how to do everything on, and trace down even the smallest little issue to figure out how to fix it. I guess she does man stuff. Would it be construction? Well, one of my good friends, she owns a construction company, and she's probably built over 40 homes at this point, if not, 50 or 60 at this point. I don't really, know how many she's built, but she knows everything about the construction stuff, trade. Is that man stuff? Again, true crime. Why am I covering it? Because this is what interests me. This is where my knowledge is. And I think that even if you don't like me covering it, you would prefer insert name of female, person. Yeah, I know when it comes to psychology, women want to hear predominantly about true crime from other women because they believe that they can, and they think that they can relate to them more in how they express the actual shock and awe, and make a connection to it, that they are connected to the individual. And I'm sorry you don't feel that way about me and my content, though, or any other man who may cover, true crime, that like Duty Ron or Scott Reich, just to name a couple, who are in true crime genre. You feel like you can't connect with them because it's a man sitting across the table telling you about, what happened. I'm truly sorry, but you're wrong. Next one. You are profiting off of murders. Enjoy the afterlife in hell. Okay. Well, I hate to break the bad news to you. If I get this little tiny bit of money compensation for covering true crime, great. I mean, I'm not going to be buying any Lamborghini or anything else. I make it by, in this world, by standing on my own 2 feet and doing the research and the work that I've put into this. So yeah, I do make money. Am I going to hell, for doing it? Well, here's a fact that you need to know, and everyone needs to listen up and understand. If I turned off monetization on everything, and even with monetization on, you are the product. I make this tiny bit of money, and YouTube and everyone else, your internet provider, your browser, YouTube, everybody, they're making this giant pile of money off of the content that they're, and data that they are streaming and collecting on you. If you don't believe that YouTube, your browser, your, VPN, doesn't matter what it is, however you connect, the device itself that you're using, they're collecting data on you, and you are the product. If you don't want to support me, great. But they're still going to be collecting that data on you. And it doesn't matter. A VPN, all that does is mask your actual location. It doesn't mean that they don't collect the information on where you are and what you're doing. You're the product. So why not support the creators who make the content that you enjoy? I mean, am I going to hell for it? I don't think that anywhere in anything that I'm doing, I've committed a mortal sin, and I'm to go to hell. I'm telling you about what really happened. You don't like it? Great. Still not going to hell for it though. So that's 12 things that that comments that people have left on my videos, live streams in the last short period of time. So how about one more, a bonus? You think you're funny? Well, I for one don't think you are. You're actually an idiot. See, another one of those try to tear me down in my intelligence again. It happens an awful lot. Surprised? Should you be? No. I have purposely, for these 12 mean comments that have been left on my content, I've left the ones off where it's nothing but vulgarity, or people who think that they know who I am and where I live and are trying to dox me. Oh yeah, I see those comments too, and they're held in review. So again, most of these comments that I just read today, you've never seen, because either they put vulgarity in them and it automatically kicked them to hell for review by either myself or two of my channel moderators who have complete ability to add, remove content from my channel along with comments, and block individuals. Yes, the block list on my channel is getting longer and longer. And whoever you are out there, I want to say one thing to one individual who keeps on commenting over and over again about how dumb I am, I'm a moron, and I'm an idiot, who has used variations of the Savannah Bananas baseball team as your internet name. I've not only reported you for some of the content that you have made and left, that you've made and content as in comments. I've not only reported you to your ISP, I've reported you to YouTube and to a couple of other places where I've seen that you have been harassing, other people on the internet. You're probably a 13-year-old boy who just thinks that this is the funniest thing in the world and that there is no repercussions for what you've had to say to people. And you are one disgusting, vile individual for not only what you said to me, in the comment section, but to other people. I've seen you pop into streams, underneath different variations of the baseball team's name. Because I know you have nothing to do with the baseball team. Maybe you are in Savannah, Georgia, and you think it's funny. Or maybe you're a fan of it. I don't know, nor do I care. And neither do the other people who you've left these comments to in live streams, or on their videos. They don't care. They just want you to just go away and leave them alone. And leave their subscribers and viewers alone as well. So that is mean comments. Well, we just turned this into the BBQ channel or recipe channel. It is. You got that. The BBQ, Blunders Balderdash and questions. BBQ. That was done on purpose, Pippadot. Good morning, Ivory Lady and Lita. Good morning. Good morning to both of you. And it's not about if you have thick skin. It's about, stopping, people who, continue to think that this is, acceptable behavior. There are consequences. And, as the, legislators are finally getting around to and doing what they should have done 10, 15 years ago, when it comes to internet safety, they should have been on it then. But they're finally now getting around to passing legislation to make doxing and harassment on the internet, illegal, just as if you did it in person. Yeah, you have a First Amendment right, but you don't have the right to go onto a site and harass someone to the point of trying to convince them to kill themselves, or harm someone, emotionally because you feel like there's no consequences behind it. And more people should, report them. In all honesty, to all those that leave the comments, as Kitty Q says, they are basement dwellers and you hate yourself so bad. And vile speaking like that, I do pray that you get right with God. I hope so too. I also hope that at the same time that someone, a parent or whoever, I mean, hell, they could be adults too. I don't know. Nor do I care who they are. I just care about what they're doing on the internet and how they're treating people. Treating people like my friend Gemma, and the things that people say to her, it's uncalled for. It's unneeded. If you don't like what she's doing, if you don't like what I'm doing, you have the ability with this stupid little device right here to click away. That's all you got to do. Click away. You don't have to stick around and make other people's lives miserable. You got here on the internet, go somewhere else on the internet. Go watch something that does make you happy. Uncle Will's Finley Barbecue and chat. We welcome you all. Thank you, Pippadot. Nothing surprises me on the internet anymore, though. Nothing. I mean, before I ever started this YouTube journey, a good friend of mine who is still on the internet and still on YouTube and other, social media platforms, who's got, probably total of a couple 100 million, viewers and subscribers, even back then. He told me, there's something you can guarantee about the internet. The people who love your content and love watching you, and being around, you may never hear from them. And if they do, they'll give you maybe a thumbs up and that's it. But the people who hate you, you're going to hear from them. You're going to hear from them because they hate you or they don't like you because they've already believed somebody else is doing a better job than you can ever do. And it doesn't matter if you are factually right or wrong. They're going to tell you you're wrong when you're right. And then when you're right, they're not going to say a damn thing about it. That was advice he gave me when I first started 7 years ago. And it's been spot on, all this time. We all know our friends are here and we have pure hearts and souls and we care for each other. That is true, Pippadot. So, I put out a comment on the YouTube community that I've been working on something that I wanted to get it done and up for for everyone to watch today. But we're so deep into the editing, and we still have more filming. We're going on day 5 of filming to put this content together. An individual that me and my wife know, his mother was murdered, and no, he wrote a book about his adventure, his mother's murder, the circumstances around it, and other things, the whole thing, and how to survive and get through life. If if even half of this, ever happened to someone else, it would break a weaker individual. This man has a story that and life experience that is phenomenal. That I really hope that resonates with you, the viewers who are here today for this morning's live stream. I hope it resonates with you, and I hope that when you do, get to see it, and hopefully I'll have it up by next Saturday, and we'll be done shooting and editing by then. But he's written a book about the actual murder itself. It's called Broken Son. Finds mother murdered on daughter's birthday. The core book, a true crime of the heart, mind, murder, online now on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Clifford Ray. This is the actual cover art. He gave me two of the copies of the cover art. These were the samples that they did before the book went into printing. But you can find Broken Son on, again, Amazon, Alvarez, Abe. It's on the Kindle. It's on the Nook. You can buy the physical copy, hardcover, paperback of the book. And again, we've been interviewing him, going through his life story from when he was younger, growing up, through there's so much there. And I really hope that not only do you watch this interview and you enjoy it, but I hope you for the first time, if you've never done it, I hope you click share and share it out to as many people as you can find, because the resilience that this man has and the triumph over everything that's happened to him. Now, I'll put it right out there, make sure everyone understands the interview that we've done with him. We've purposely put it together so it's not just about his mother's murder, because the story is so much bigger than just the murder itself. His life, his children, what was happening, in that time, how he was struggling to get by, and everything else. And then on top of everything, his mother's murder, which is still a cold case. It has never been solved. It is still, investigators at the state, local level, every FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request that I filed has been denied because it's an open case. It's a cold case. It's currently with the cold case squad, and they're investigating and putting fresh eyes to it. But they're needing that one piece to be able to charge someone, to go after the perpetrator. But again, one last time, Broken Son is the name of the book, and it is by Clifford Ray. Again, you can get it on Kindle or Nook, or you can buy the physical copy on Amazon. You can get it on wherever you get your your books and your reading material. You can probably find it. Again, I found it on Abe Books, that's used, and so also on Alvarez. Both of those books are used, but physical copies. But you can find it on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Abe Books, Alvarez, and you can get the Kindle version or the Nook version if you want to download it and read it on your e-reader. It happens a lot more, unfortunately, Pippadot, than anyone ever wants to know. We only hear about the more sensationalized stories about a mother or a father that kills, their children. And it's not just mothers. You would think that, statistically, it's more mothers than fathers. No, it's mothers, it's fathers, it's stepfathers, it's stepmothers, people who are brought into the family, without truly being vetted, I guess, is a way to put it. But it happens. And then there are the ones that slip by, where it's not the first time. Maybe it's not the second time that a parent, in that household has unalived a child. Maybe they did it once before and it was 28 years ago, and they did it again because they got away with it the first time. It's sad. But again, we only hear about the sensationalized ones, the ones that were mainstream media has decided to put forth, some kind of, coverage on it, or it raised new circumstances or questions. What happened to this child? Is there connection to these two sudden infant deaths? And it wasn't a SIDS case. I know of one off the top of my head where the mother unalived 8 children. She kept on having them. She kept on taking them out over and over again, and authorities were never able to put the pieces together until the last one. And then they were horrified, at what had happened at that point. So there's the link again to the merch store. A couple more uses that you could use these coffee mugs for. I mean, obviously, this is the one that's still currently for sale, but I'm drinking out of it right now because I like the coffee cup. And somebody asked me in the comment section, how big are these coffee mugs? Are they 16, 21 ounces? No, they're 12-ounce coffee mugs. But another use for coffee mug. This is the same size. It's just one of my former ones that I used to sell. You know what these are? Anybody remember these? Huh? Huh? You're old like me if you know what these are. But you can use these coffee mugs for storing these. Yeah. Another use for them. How about put some dirt in it? You can put some flowers in it, or maybe something to hold your American flag in. Another use. You can put fake flowers in it too, or fake flowers and an American flag. Be patriotic. Again, and another person commented on the video live stream last week, and they said, "Hey, you know what I use old mugs that I'm not going to drink out of anymore for? Draining the gasoline out of carburetors that I'm working on for small engines like lawnmowers and tillers and stuff like that. I use it to drain the gas out from the bowl into the mug, and then I take the actual bowl off itself. And I can look in there and I can see the dirt versus the white background. Another use for a coffee mug, but still, they're available. There's the link. Again, shipping and handling anywhere in the United States and international, and it's the total cost of shipping is based on, it's not flat rate. It's based on how far you are from the two manufacturing facilities. One's on the East Coast, one's on the West Coast. So if you're on the West Coast or East Coast, it's even cheaper, than if you live in Iowa. And I'm sorry, but the West Coast ships to one side of the world and East Coast ships to the other side of the world. But again, get yourself a coffee mug or a t-shirt. They're available. Right there's the link. Slowly scrolling by. Remember, we were going to give Cement my email. Something weird happened. I didn't get an email. I swear, it said the name Cement Shoes continued. The name said Cement, but it was a lady telling me a really weird story. I have not. Has anybody seen Cement Shoes around online lately? I'm worried about Cement Shoes, and their ongoing health issues. I haven't seen them, on several of the different, channels where I normally saw, Cement Shoes in live streams. I haven't seen Cement Shoes around. And if you're seeing this afterwards, Cement Shoes, I really hope that your health is improving, but I just haven't seen Cement around. You have not either, Kitty Q. Yeah, same here. I'm worried, and I really do hope that Cement Shoes' health is improving. Maybe Cement Shoes is just taking time away and focusing on their health. And I don't begrudge them at all for doing that. I would do it as well. But just know, in case you see this later, Cement Shoes, a lot of people out here, care and hope that you're doing, better. Yeah, you're a vibe, Pippadot. Some of the others I've seen around here and there. Maybe they're not able to catch the Saturday morning, but they pop in for the live streams, for trivia night, or I've seen them on other streams, or they've emailed me. I've heard from others. Will, tell us about tomorrow. Well, glad that you should ask, Kitty Q, because we now have fact or fake news. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. We still have fact or fake news. So I hope that the people didn't jet out of here before the fact or fake news, because we do this every Saturday morning. Fact or fake. Again, one of these three stories is real, and the other two are fake. Every one of these stories has been shared at least 100,000 times on the internet, on different venues: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Reddit, and they've been shared everywhere at least 100,000 times. Story number one: a Maryland man wins $200,000 in lottery prize after using the license plate number from his car. The long-haul truck driver said he couldn't think of any combinations he hadn't tried yet. So why not play the numbers from the plate? Well, it won, and he said he will be playing them again. Is this the real story or is this one of the fake ones? Story number 2. Washington, D.C. A man wanted for several charges, including trespassing on federal property without permission, is a little bit better off once he is released from jail. He won $100,000 in Virginia state lottery playing a combination of his birth date and the warrant number for being a felon in possession of a firearm. Yes, that's an additional charge on top of trespassing. Is this the real story or is this one of the fake stories? Story number 3. A woman who wished to remain anonymous has got to be one of the luckiest people alive. Not only did she survive the mass murder in the Branch Davidian church fire, she has now won the lottery 4 times. This time, she most recently won $1,800,000. When asked what she planned to do with the money, she said she plans to write a book about her life. One of those 3 stories is real. Answer in the comment section A, B, or C. There's no need to tell me in the world which ones are fake. Just the real story. Can you smell the real story of those 3? Good morning, Inner Peas. I hope you had a terrific week. Which one of these 3 stories is real? A, B, or C? Kitty Q is going with story 2. Ivory Lady is going with C. Smoke them if you got them. Which one is real? A, B, or C? Again, over 100,000 times each of these stories were shared on the internet on different social media platforms. YouTube, Facebook, X, Reddit, Instagram. These stories are shared everywhere. Even if they're only 60 seconds or less, they're shared and people believe them as being real. One of these stories is real and the other 2 are fake. Which one is the real one? A, B, or C? Lita is going with B. Once again, in review, story 1 is about a Maryland man who won the lottery using the license plates from his car. He's a long-haul truck driver. Is that the real story? Or is it story B? A man wanted on several felony warrants. Used a combination of his birth date and the warrant number for his arrest for possession of a firearm. Is that the real story or is it story C? About a woman who survived the Branch Davidian fire and massacre. She now has won $1,800,000 in her most recent win, but she's won it 4 times. And she plans to use the money to write a book of her life, about her life. One of those is the real story. The other 2 are fake. You missed all 3? Pippadot? Story number 1 is now on your screen, Pippadot. Maryland man wins $200,000 lottery prize after using his license plate number from his car, not his truck, the long-haul truck driver. Said he couldn't think of any combination. And, to play the lottery, but he used a plate number and he won the lottery. He plans on doing it again. Story B is a man from Washington, D.C., who was wanted on felonies for trespassing on federal property And firearms charges used a combination of his birth date and the warrant number for his arrest. And he won the lottery with that. He won $100,000. Or story C, story 3, a woman who wished to remain anonymous survived the Branch Davidian, murders, and fire, and has now won the lottery 4 times. For most recent, she won $1,800,000 and plans to write a book. One of those 3 stories is real. Pimpin' Dot is going to go with B. The correct answer this week is story number 1. Story A. Maryland man wins a $200,000 lottery prize after using the license plate number from his car. He is a long-haul truck driver. He won $200,000 in the lottery by using the plate number off of his car. And that won him the lottery. Right? It's just the luck of the draw. They say that the lottery is a tax on the poor, that the poor only play and pay willingly. You can't win if you don't play. I always buy $1 worth of lottery ticket, or 2, or now it's 5 for the mega. I can't remember, but I only buy 1 ticket when it gets to like a certain amount, but I don't play it the rest of the time. Now, Kitty Coo asks, who is trivia about this week? You can look at this if you later, but obviously, that's my business name, my DBA 411 Now Media. It is not my actual license name, but that's what shows up. But this week's trivia is about Randy Woodfield, or Randall Woodfield. He is known as the I-5 Killer. He was made posthumously more famous by Ann Rule. Ann Rule wrote the book about the I-5 Killer, and that was Randy Woodfield. Randall is a nickname. His birth name is actually Randy. No, sorry, reverse that. Randy is the nickname. He was born Randall. Randall Woodfield. The I-5 Killer is tomorrow night's trivia. Chucky Punches makes your mouth red and lingers too. That's not a problem. I'm willing to go back and show them all again. I'm glad you got to read them though. A, B, or C. Just think of the 100,000 people that believed that story, B, or C was real. That the 100,000 people. How many times have you read a news story, about something like, hey, I heard that some lady, survived the Branch Davidian, murders and fire, and has now won the lottery 4 times. You read that story, that sounds like a great story, right? And you then, how many times have you read something and then maybe you told your daughter or your son or your best friend that you read this story? Because these stories don't look like they're coming from The Onion, which is a satirical news website. They present these stories as real stories, and unfortunately, mainstream media occasionally picks these stories up, and you'll see them on ABC News or NBC or Fox. Don't you even for a second think that Fox News would never fall for that. They have done it, and they have covered it on Good Morning, the morning show, Good Morning Fox. They've covered it on their afternoon shows. I've seen it, and I could put countless different examples of them falling for it, just like the other side. I've even seen a couple of these fake stories show up on CNN. I've never seen them show up on PBS or the News Hour, or NPR, but I've definitely seen them show up on the mainstream media. And how is that even possible? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's a shocker for you. as mainstream media has changed over the years, the newsroom, the pictures you may have seen online of Edward R. Murrow sitting behind a typewriter at a desk, with, 50 or 60 other desks and people working in the newsroom. Those days are well gone. They've downsourced the entire newsroom to maybe one, maybe four, somewhere in there, news reporters and investigative journalists, people who not only do the news, but report on the news, write the news, and they now make that individual go out and not only write the news, they make them go out and shoot the news. There's not even a cameraman anymore. It's the one individual with the camera, the tripod, and the van, that makes them go out. Or they've outsourced it even more to what they call, freelance journalists. Excuse me. And where's the fact checking anymore? Where's the accountability? If they report one of these fake stories like I keep on covering here, what's the repercussions? They don't even have to issue an apology. They just move on. Next week they don't say, we got fooled. That story wasn't real. They don't care. They're never going to print a correction or put a blurb out there that says, wow, we got fooled last week. There wasn't someone who survived the Branch Davidian fire who's won the lottery 4 times. That was all fake. If they cover that story, they just let it go. And that's the state of the world we're in. And why did they cut all these journalists from, your newspapers, your television shows, and stuff like that? Because they can make more money for the profit holder, for the stockholders, profit for them. Every quarter, they have to report that they're making more and more and more and more money. Otherwise, people don't want to buy their stock. Their company's not as worth as much. That's the world we live in. Profits, greed, number one. Then we'll actually maybe cover some real news. And each side slants their news to one direction or the other to draw you in, and they're doing it to get you to watch and buy more of their advertising space. Everyone. It doesn't matter if it's the left or the right. That's sad. It's truly sad. Will, Fanta is making a Halloween red tropical punch called Chucky Punch. I actually have Fanta in the refrigerator in here. I don't know what kind it is though. It's probably like strawberry or fruit punch. I don't know. I don't drink soda, and if I do, it's maybe 1 or 2 cans of soda per year. I stay away from anything with high fructose corn syrup in it or a lot of sugar. I don't eat desserts. Although if Gayla would make me some snickerdoodles and send them to my PO box, I'd eat those. But anyways, because we've had multiple people in here for interviews over the last this is day 5. As we've been working on this case, and everything. But in interviewing them for it, we've had we got bottled water. There's a coffee pot behind me now. Did anybody notice that? Yeah, we had to go out and buy a coffee maker for in here because we've had so many people in here, as we've been interviewing them. Some of them you'll see, or you'll definitely see, Clifford Ray, but the other people we were interviewing for factual background information for the story. That one, and we're also in the process of filming and editing a man who is on death row, who received 113 years for a murder that he, of course, says that he is innocent of. But but we've been interviewing him. But yeah, we've been making coffee too. Coffee, bottled water, sodas. iced tea. They'll offer, a little bit of everything for people that they've been here. This is not a light undertaking. Neither one of these two cases that I'm talking about. It's been an awful lot of work, and it's not just me. My wife has been running the multiple different cameras while I've been doing this. On top of she works full time, and I have a full time thing here as well. So. Business expenses, yeah, it's definitely been business expenses, interpeas. We're hoping that next Saturday, again, we will have the author of Broken Sun on that's by Clifford Ray. We're hoping that we'll have this video done next Saturday, by next Saturday. But the other one about the man who's been sentenced to 113 years in prison, I don't know if we'll have that one done this week. It might be middle of the month, somewhere in there. And because we only got a couple of days left of this month, today and tomorrow. Monday, no, is it Monday the 31st? Labor Day. Chat saying hello to Lemon Pie, Cali Girl, Gemma, Purple, Sal, everyone. Good morning. I'm sorry I missed you all. I hope that you all had a great week, and I hope you have a terrific weekend. I'm about to wrap up this morning's Blunders Balderdash and questions. Again, before I head out the door, and we all have to go on with our days. If you enjoyed this, give this a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Again, the link was on the screen. You can find it in the description of this live stream to the merch store where you can get yourself a coffee cup. I don't care what you need. You use it for coffee, tea, drinking bourbon out of in the morning. You do what you need to do with the coffee cup. But go check out the merch. I appreciate it. To each and every one of you who do, and have purchased the merch in the past year. Monday's the 1st. Thank you, Kitty Coo. I had to think there for a second. It's like, when's the 31st? But everyone, I hope you have a terrific day today. You stay safe out there. Until next time we see each other. Bye. And happy birthday to your youngest, Kitty Coo. Happy birthday to the youngest.